on, guys? This is DropThisBox, and I hope all of you guys out there are having a fantastic day today. And today I am here to talk about my gym partner's a monkey. And the reason why I wanted to make this video today is because I wanted to talk about another cartoon from my childhood. And I've been having a lot of fun making these videos every single week when it comes to what cartoon came out of Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon that I happened to see. And this was another cartoon that I used to watch all the time as a kid. And I mainly just want to go over my experience with my gym partner as a monkey, so you guys get a better understanding of my relationship with the series. So let's dive into that right away. So when I think about my gym partner as a monkey, the first thing that comes to mind is how out of the box it was. I mean, the whole idea of a kid named Adam Lyon getting sent to an all-animal school because of a mistake with his last name, that's the kind of wacky premise that immediately grabs your attention. It felt so different from anything else on TV back then, and honestly, that's what made me keep watching. What I loved about the show was how it fully leaned into its ridiculous premise. Instead of holding back, it ran with it, whether it was Adam trying to figure out how to survive in a school run by animals or the weird animal specific rules that just made no sense to him. And it wasn't just funny, it was creative. Every episode felt like stepping into this bizarre little world where you never knew what would happen next. The school itself, Charles Darwin Middle School, was one of the coolest settings. I remember being fascinated by how each part of the school was tailored to different animals. There were water tanks for aquatic students, trees for monkeys, and even custom desks. They made every scene visually interesting, and I loved how much thought they put into those little details. Looking back, I think my gym partner as a monkey stood out because it was unapologetically weird. It didn't try to be like other cartoons, it just did its own thing, and that's what made it so fun to watch for me. And Jake was the heart and soul of the show for me. He was loud, hyper, and completely unpredictable. That's what made him so fun to watch. Jake wasn't just Adam's best friend, he was the one who dragged Adam, and honestly us as the viewers, into all of the chaos. It was impossible to take your eyes off him because you never knew what he would do next. What I really appreciated about Jake was that for all his over-the-top antics, he really cared about Adam. Sure, he got them into some crazy situations, but he always had Adam's back in the end. There's something so relatable about that kind of relationship. The friend who drives you absolutely nuts, but is also the first one to defend you when things go wrong. Jake was also just hilarious, whether it was his ridiculous catchphrases, his obsession with bananas, or the way he acted like every little thing was a life or death situation. He brought so much energy to the show. I remember laughing at how dramatic he could be about the smallest things, but that was part of his charm. For me, Jake was the kind of character who made the show feel alive. Even when the storylines got a little wild, he was the one who kept things grounded and fun. It's no wonder he's the character I think of first whenever my gym partner as a monkey comes to mind. And even though the show is about a human kid at a school for animals, it somehow managed to capture what middle school felt like. Adam's struggles with fitting in and figuring out where he belonged hit pretty close to home. I think we've all had moments where we felt out of place, and watching Adam deal with that, but in the most bizarre situations imaginable, was kind of comforting. One thing that stood out to me was how the animals in the show represented different cliques, just like in a real school. It was such a clever way of showing how schools are divided into these little social groups, even if it was exaggerated for laughs. What I really liked though was how Adam grew throughout the show. At first he was totally lost at Charles Darwin Middle School, but over time he started to find his place. It was nice to see that even in such a crazy setting, he learned how to accept himself and connect with others. It made the show feel a little more grounded even with all the silliness. It reminded me that middle school is awkward for everyone, no matter where you are, or in Adam's case, who you're surrounded by. It's one of those things that makes the show feel relatable, even with its wild premise. One thing I'll always remember about my gym partner as a monkey is how funny it was. The jokes weren't just about animals doing silly things, they had layers to them. A lot of the humor came from the ridiculous scenarios Adam found himself in, like trying to follow rules that made no sense or dealing with Jake's over-the-top schemes. I think what made the humor so great was how it balanced being absurd and smart at the same time. Sure, there was plenty of slapstick comedy, But there were also moments of clever wordplay and jokes that were clearly meant for older audiences. It's one of those shows where you would rewatch it years later and catch the things you missed as a kid. The way the show leaned into its absurdity was what really sold it for me. I remember cracking up at how seriously animals took their school traditions, even when they made zero sense. It was like they had their own weird logic that you just had to roll with, and it made every episode feel fresh and unpredictable. Even now, thinking about certain scenes make me smile. The humor had this timeless quality that still holds up, which is something I can't say about every cartoon I grew up with. It's just one of those shows that knew how to make you laugh no matter how old you are. And I feel like My Gym Partner's a Monkey doesn't get talked about enough. When people bring up classic Cartoon Network shows, this one always seems to be overshadowed by bigger names like Ed and Eddie and the Powerpuff Girls, which is understandable. But honestly, it does deserve more credit for how creative and fun it was. The show had such a unique vibe. It wasn't trying to teach big life lessons or be overly deep. It just wanted to be funny and weird, and it completely nailed that. I think that's part of why I liked it so much. It wasn't trying to be anything other than what it was, and that made it stand out. I also think the show was way more creative than people give it credit for. The idea of an animal school could have easily been a one-note gimmick, but they kept finding new ways to explore it. From the different cliques to the school's rules to the wild field trips, every episode felt like a new adventure. Looking back, I think My Gym Partner's a Monkey is one of those shows that's worth revisiting. It's not the most talked about cartoon, but it's one of those hidden gems that sticks with you. If you ever watched it back in the day, you would probably know exactly what I mean. So it was fun just giving my thoughts on My Gym Partner's a Monkey within this video, because like I said, it's not a cartoon that's talked about much. It's just one of those cartoons that had its time to shine all those years ago when Cartoon Network was just putting out all these different kinds of shows back then. And yes, it didn't get as much popularity like Ed and Eddie and Powerpuff Girls, like I mentioned, which I didn't really expect it to. But it still did its job that it needed to do. It kept me entertained, it gave me a lot of laughs, and that's something I could really appreciate with the show. So I'm gonna leave the ball in your corner, guys. How do you guys feel about My Gym Partner's a Monkey? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you guys have anything you want to share about it? Be sure to let me know down below. And if you enjoy the content on this channel, be sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Be sure to follow me on my X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. All the links to those are located in the description below. Be sure to click on that bell for notifications so you guys are notified whenever I'm dropping a video on the channel. But other than that, I hope all the guys are having a fantastic day, wherever the day may be. If it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.